So usually I just make one Reddit post video a day if I talk about a Reddit post, but I found this one that I think would be pretty interesting to talk about. So yes, today there's two Reddit post videos. This one is from the Poke Investing subreddit, and the title is very simple. It's just, what are your spiciest hot takes on Pokemon investing? So I want to read a few of these and give my thoughts because I feel like a lot of these sort of talks about, I guess, what I really believe in and what I think will happen here in the near future. So let's just start reading some of these comments, and you guys down in the comments below can leave your, I guess, hot takes about Pokemon investing. So the first comment here is, most people in this sub won't be here in the next 5 to 10 years. And this is, I guess, the most upvoted one. Now, 5 to 10 years, especially for a subreddit, I guess if that's what they're talking about, is kind of a long time. Or they're just talking about, I guess, generally people in this subreddit that are into Pokemon investing won't be investing and won't be into investing in the next 5 to 10 years. That's probably what they mean, right? So if that's what they're talking about, which I, probably think they're talking about, I think that's true, right? I think a lot of people in the space that are new don't actually understand what a normal Pokemon market is like, right? Because when you go back when the market was slow, you know, things weren't crazy, right? There wasn't a lot of action, a lot of drama, and honestly, Pokemon investing, it was still a thing. Like, people definitely still talked about it. That's like when I started my channel, like at the beginning of like the Scarlet and Violet era. But it was nowhere near like it is now. So Pokemon investing is a lot more mainstream than it was a few years ago. But I think for that reason, there being so many new people now, when things go back to that market that they didn't experience when things are down, when things aren't crazy, I think a lot of people will get bored of it because there will be no action, and a lot of people will probably not be here, and most likely people will probably sell out of their stuff pretty early, and I think that's normal, and that's why, in my opinion, this whole space, this Pokemon investing space, works. Is because people get bored and sell them off, because when they've already, made a certain amount of money, they're already happy, they sell it, move on to the next thing. This sub is filled with low effort trash posts. Yeah, I feel like recently, it's been a little bit harder to find some cool things to talk about. Like, once in a while, I'll find some nice stuff, which I try to make a Reddit post every single day. But yeah, a lot of these posts on here are just sometimes just random, and it's sometimes I have to really dig to find something that's kind of, worth talking about. Most people can't handle volatility. Once the market drops 75%, of the people will panic selling, and there will be lots to scoop up. See, that's another thing. It's like when people don't know what like the normal market feels like, when things drop like a little bit, like 10, 20%, people will think it's the end of the world, and they'll sell before it hits bottom. But I mean, if you've been in this space and you have experienced, I guess, the last sort of downturn we had from Sword and Shield to Scarlet and Violet, things did actually not drop much, right? Like, obviously, Scarlet and Violet sets, when they came out, they weren't expensive, they were dirt cheap, right? But other than that, like Sword and Shield stuff, when we entered the Scarlet and Violet market, like, Sword and Shield stuff didn't like tank, right? Some of the stuff didn't really do much for a while, that's true, right? But we didn't see these huge, like, 50, 75% drops. We never saw that, and I don't think we've really ever seen that, really, like, in the past at least 5 years. So, yeah, that sort of thing doesn't really happen. But when we do see maybe some 10, 20% downturns, I think a lot of people will probably sell into that because they'll be scared that it may go down 50, 75%, which we really have never seen. So that is very possible that when this market sees, a drop, we might just see a lot of things get flooded, and maybe things will drop even further then. But that's definitely a possibility. My hot take is that the 30th anniversary is blown way out of proportion in this sub, and a lot of people here are going to be left holding the bag. So yes, so this 30th anniversary thing is coming up, right? And there has been a lot of talks about this 30th anniversary thing. Is this going to be the continuation of the market, or is the 30th anniversary thing going to be a bust? Now, there has been an argument to be made, which I sort of agree on, that the 30th anniversary is not going to be near anywhere near as popular or crazy as the 25th anniversary. And literally the only reason being is the number. Like if you think about it, right? 25 is a quarter of 100, right? So 25 is it's like some sort of weird mental thing where it's like a big deal. It's like a quarter of a century, right? But 30th, like 30 is kind of in a weird spot. I feel like how things work are like 25th, 50th, 75th, 100th, right? I feel like that's sort of how anniversaries sort of work, like big milestones. It goes by quarters, in my opinion. And I feel like this one being 30, it's not going to be, in my opinion, as big of a deal. So I do think it is for some people, like they blow it up proportion. But if the 30th anniversary set is very good, it's not going to matter that it's a weird number. If it's a good set, it's a good set. But it probably isn't going to hit as hard as the 25th anniversary just because of the number. But we'll have to see, and obviously depends how the market is then, because the 30th anniversary will be coming out during the new era. So we'll see what happens with the new era. If the new era is a bust, and let's say 30th anniversary comes out and it's not that great, it's probably not going to do anything to the market. It may actually hurt the market, if anything, if it's bad. So let's read a few more comments here. For this sub specifically, a hot take is that treating the 10-year rule as like gospel is dumb, and people blindly parrot it because they think it makes them sound smart. It's fine for setting the expectations of holding long term, and having some long term lazy investments is fine, but there is a crazy amount of money left on the table by blindly following a rule like that for 100% of your investing. Easiest example is Prismatic right now. Obviously a crazy good 10-year hold, but a lot of Prismatic you buy is going to sit flat for a year while Pokemon print the set into oblivion. Instead, you can put your money into older sets that are far more likely to see movement within a year, then sell and reinvest into Prismatic as it hits the end of its printing life. Obviously, there are some good lazy long-term Prismatic investing like PCETVs, sealed cases, UPCs. Okay, so I agree with, I guess, the first paragraph, but the second one, I wouldn't say like, okay, Prismatic, for example, like being a good example, because you're assuming Prismatic evolutions, like maybe let's say ETBs, are going to get printed into the ground, which obviously is up for debate. And then you're saying that you should time it to wait till it's the end of its printing cycle, then to buy it, because during the time where it could get reprinted, then it's probably not going to see much movement. I mean, that's not always true. I've always used the example. Look at 151. Even look at Paldean Fates. You look at how those have been performing, and there's been no ETB reprints. I feel like that argument's a little bit different, and I feel like I don't really agree with the second part of this, statement or this paragraph. But I do agree with the first part. I've never been an advocate for like this 10-year, 20-year rule thing. I think it's stupid. I think people who talk about it, I mean, think about how long really a decade is. 2 decades. I don't think people realize how long that is, right? So many things will change your life personally, your interests and everything. If you need money for something, if you're not really into Pokemon at the time, you're gonna sell the box. Let's be honest here, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But most people are not gonna be holding for 10 years, and there's honestly no reason to really preach hold for 10, 20 years because it's dumb, right? It's such a long time frame. What I say is just hold as long as you can until something comes up, then sell it. If you make money, that's all that matters, right? It doesn't matter. You don't have to 500x your money. If you even double, triple your money, that's great, right? Why be mad about that? If you want, sell some, keep some. That's what I do. I've always told you guys, for me, my whole investing strategy in this space has been to hold at least like a case of a booster box or a set I buy, and that's sort of it. If I buy, like, say, I don't know, 50 boxes of something, I'm not going to hold 50 boxes to the end of eternity, right? I'll be selling some off, in time, and then at the end of the day, I'll like to hold at least a case longer term, which is obviously just any number out there. But that's sort of my strategy, and I've been following it. I haven't, been, just selling every single booster box and have zero. Like, I will at least hold a case of each booster box. So that's just my, I guess, take on that. I don't hold everything till eternity. I don't think that's honestly the greatest strategy. I always take profits along the way and keep some for the longer term. If Pokemon and everything still goes great in the long term, most likely they'll see some pretty good gains. So here's the last one, and then I'll be done with this. That 75% to 80% of the people here have no set exit strategy. So I've talked about this, the whole exit strategy thing. I talk about, setting yourself up for success. Like right now, you should probably, if you don't have an account already, be setting up an eBay account, selling small items to get your feedback, to get positive feedback, to have account age. That stuff matters, especially for an exit strategy. I mean, you can do consignment stuff, but that may be tedious depending on what you have. You may not trust some consignment services or whatever the case may be. Do something to set yourself up for success. And one of the biggest things is to start an eBay account, because when the market sees a downturn and you can't sell locally that quick, and people may not even care about Pokemon maybe near you, you want to have somewhere you can sell, and online is going to be your best bet. And eBay is probably the best platform for most people to sell on. So that would be my I guess advice for an exit strategy. And I guess also it depends what you buy too. Things could be harder to sell, and if you're just blindly buying and investing into random stuff, you may have some liquidity issues. But I guess that's my advice, is just set up an eBay store and start selling small stuff. So I think that's it for this. Like I said, I usually don't make 2 Reddit post videos in a day, but I found this one that I wanted to talk about because there's some interesting things here. And I think a huge takeaway from this is that many people that are here now, this whole Pokemon investing space, obviously within the last year, has gotten very big, much larger than it was a few years ago. But many of these people, when the market sees a downturn, I bet you a large amount of people will sell probably after the market sees a downturn. If we're in a downturn for about a year, I bet you a lot of people would sell during that downturn. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just how this space works and why it's going to probably continue to work. Even though there are more people than probably ever investing in a Pokemon, people are going to leave, and that's just how it's going to be. So that's the end of this video. You guys comment down below any hot takes or anything you have. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.